interesting. So there are a couple of things I have learned in terms of my study of leaving the country, and depending on where you go, right? And I think one of the biggest lessons I have learned about leaving the country is you got that money with you, right? And the thing that is so interesting, because one of the issues that is on the ballot, right, is this whole issue of immigration. And people are steady coming here, and they're steady coming here because they think that this is a better place, right, where they can.
It's the American dream, right? It was.
It's a dream of hope, right? Yeah. That they could make enough money here to survive at home, right? So, and I remember one time I was getting my nails done, and the person who was doing my nails was from Cambodia, and she says $100 a month home, right? And she said it makes a serious difference for her folks at home, for her people at home, and that's why she came here, was to support her people at home. So that's why people come here, right? To create hope for their families, for their future, etc. I don't think they think necessarily that America's all that, especially after they get here. I think they think they can make money here, which has been, so many of those stories about people who started with little and were able to parlay that into a great amount. So if we think about leaving, right, then we have to think about how do we take money or some type of entrepreneurship or business with us as we go. And then, depending on where you go, is so many people who's out there before you, right? Because neoliberalism is real, right? But none of that kind of sort of answers the question that you asked me and I'm asking you is that, okay, right now, it ain't looking good, right? So how do we then, given this, this scenario that is laid before us, how do we protect ourselves, right? How do we protect our mental health? How do we protect our physical health? How do we protect the communities that we've been working for the last 30 years, right? In terms of the mamas and the babies and the daddies too. How do we begin to formulate the plot and the plan that creates some type of shield or force field so we can be okay, right? How do we make sure we get fed? How do we make sure we get fed? So fed in terms of our spiritual health, fed in terms of our physical health, in terms of the food, because Lord knows they probably pollute the earth as much as they can.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the part I'm looking at. It's like, okay, we're going to have to throw up all this negative and then figure out what we're going to do.
Yeah, it is definitely. But I think, to be wise is to win, lose, or draw. Plot the plan.
Well, yeah, we had to do a win, lose, or draw. Well, it is totally a different plan.
Plot the plan
from lose, right? It's a totally different plan.
And maybe not, because
no Project 25 under a Harris administration.
Well, yeah, maybe not, but at the same time, we still would have had to. It didn't mean that they wouldn't be trying to make it maybe Project 2029. You know what I'm saying?
True.
Times.
But they would have to get there. And in the meantime, we could have paused or slowed down climate change. We could have got some fresh organic food, saved some farms. We could have got people healthy with some, expansion of the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare. We could have did a whole lot of things.
I think the challenge, still for me is I just feel like we didn't even have an opportunity to come fresh out of the pandemic before there was already still chaos and confusion.
It's still chaos.
It was like wars, and I'm like, are we really? It's really going to be some fights when folks are really trying to survive. This is real, and it's just going to. So I think that.
What do you think the Trump administration would do on a day one?
Or that inoculate ourselves. I don't even want to think about what they would do. I don't want to think about what they would do because we've seen what was done before. We heard what was said. And we've seen some of the things. I mean, yeah, I don't
You got to think about it.
or I have to think about it, but I don't want to think about it in this moment. Maybe I might have think about it.
Okay, you got like people downstairs drinking vodka and making toast. Let's make a toast.
And downstairs they handed me a glass. We toasted.
What we toasting? We toasting. We here tonight together. What you?
And it's like, that's when you like, this ain't no damn party. What it ain't
Not a party. And I will say this, right? So when Trump was elected in 2016 is when Black Women Wellness Action Project started. And when we said, okay, enough of this nonpartisan, neutral bullshit, we're going to have to tell people
we have to get active. You have to, we were active before then, but no, but I'm just saying, yeah,
not being able to say, yeah, this, what, or not that.
You have to get active in a different way. And so we can't let all the work that we've done, especially these last, for us, 30,
like with the 30.
Just 30 days. I was going to say 30 days, 30 weeks, 30 months.
30 months. That is cut. 30 months. Yeah, this is 30 months.
Go to hell in the handbasket. I think I have to think what has always just like kind of helped me to just, like I said, to somebody else, I text someone, I said, I'm with Jesus, I'm gonna be with Jesus whether we win or not. And I have to be, because that's what sustained me. That sustained me through losses of moms, losses of sibling, losses of, so many various things. So for me, I know me personally, I can't speak to everybody else and where they are spiritually. I just have to draw back into that and then say, okay, well, what will make sense? What are the things we need to come together on or work on?
It is not good.
No, don't. No.
Prime 36.
Oh, okay. I'm like, listen, folks, all in the room, all outside the room, downstairs, upstairs, dinner with. I talked to y'all Friday. I got some reports I still need to do. I need to focus. I'm going to go to some of these. What I am going to do in the next few minutes, I don't know about you. I'm going to go to some of these other folks' parties. I'm going to go see what's up. Hey, Uncle Hut, we in it? Michelle Chambers, do we have it?
Hold on.
Sade, what's the deal? I'm going to go check out some of my local folk, because the other thing is we're going to have to support them. Because if some of these things, like folks are saying, we done lost the house and we done lost all the, those folks that are don't have to really, 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 really get some help and support. So, what more can we say tonight? Let's say this. Folks, breathe.
What district is?
Keep breathing. Keep finding. Listen. What they say is not over till the fat lady sing. It's not over until
Fat lady not singing yet.
Yeah. Keep hanging in there. Keep trusting and believing.
Keep planning and plotting.
Keep planning and plotting. And then this might be the new season of like, really know your allies.
So we know who not our allies.
Really know your allies. Partner up with genuine allies. And I think it helped that I think this has helped for us to see where human beings really are, because it's so sad that it's so drawn to either colorism, race, financiers. Yeah, and it's not dealing in the reality, because all these folks can say they believe in God and whatnot, read the same Bible and come up with so many different interpretations.
That's the truth.
And that's the sad part of it. And not get back to the core thing is that if we are all created as human beings, and I didn't see all the colorism there, though there were different tribes and different the colorism wasn't placed, the value wasn't placed on the colorism. It was more placed upon, the various tribes. But nevertheless, here we are stuck yet again going backwards instead of forwards. And even if, one wins, it's still backward, is shown a lot of backwards thinking and a lot of backwards believing. And that's what's so damn challenging. But we won't give up. We won't give in. We'll keep trying. And I think that's even the interesting thing of Black people. We're so loving and kind and forgiving, and we get blamed for being all these other things. But, and we have to, all the things that I've seen, the rhetoric that was shared, you couldn't even be caught saying that type of stuff and be supposed to be a leader. But other people can say it, and it's like, well,
Here's a scary on top guys, you get JD things.
nope.
All right. So, Randy Terry Clinton writes, and on paper, she was eminently more qualified than him, right? But they chose. And now Kamala Harris ran against her. She was eminently qualified, not a convicted villain, right? Not a sexual assault but they picked him. But when he ran against Biden, it was close, right? So my observation says that this country is not ready for in his leadership. Yeah. Doesn't matter if she's white, Black, multiracial, they are not ready. So we know we live in a patriarchy now. It has been absolutely confirmed, right? And then this time around, I'm going to say there was hella voter suppression, right? When we talk about, when I know you all saw these pictures like I saw these pictures in terms of you see blue over here and then you see all this red. Someone mentioned the South will rise again, that's saying whatever, right? But we also know that's where the most voter suppression happened, right? I don't know, you all heard about, there were 20 bomb threats in Georgia on the day of the election, 20 bomb threats, right? So they absolutely do not want folks to vote in some of those states.
Say Donald Trump paid to have this fixed in this favor. And I believe in something greater and bigger than Donald Trump. I know the Spirit is going to protect us and continue to be our guiding light. And Black people, including me, Black folks, we need to be reminded about the power we possess inside, to overcome all these obstacles that corporate America tell us that we can't do and we can't do. And, and if we come together, we can overcome all these obstacles and that stands in our way. And I just want to share that. I'm sorry, I was just married the city in LA.
Whether or not you realize this community is up for grabs by developers, returning Caucasians, and yes, there's a thing called brown gentrification happening to the Crenshaw. We have a Mexican grocery replacing Ralph's at Slauson and Crenshaw. At Slauson and Crenshaw, you have a great big sign offering legal services to the Latino community in Spanish only. We have an LA Care Center coming, which announced its opening a year ago to the neighborhood council, which I'm a board member of. At that time, they had no Black employees. They came again, and now they are open with no Black employees. When you go into the franchises like McDonald's, Burger King, look around you. And if you're not confrontational, the least thing you can do is ask, by any chance, do you employ Black people? Because if you are sitting, this is the largest Black community in the state of California now. And if we don't fight to remain here, guess what? We are leaving. The handwriting is on the wall. If you just go into any meeting, I know Black Latinos, they don't talk about Black people in Latino meetings. Everything is not Black and brown and people of color. That is why I said, please put the name Black in front of your organization and ask me for some money.
Am I shocked? No, not at all. I'm not shocked because my shock came about with Hillary Clinton when she ran. And then I saw the numbers thereafter and I realized who was voting and the decisions that were made. And folks were comfortable with voting for someone based upon all that they had seen. They were still comfortable. And we're all supposed to be sane people, comfortable with making that decision. And then, Biden came along and he won thereafter.
And we see the results of this. So did they cheat? I think hell yeah. But I also think looking at that popular vote, we're gonna have to give some shade to some people. Right? I'm gonna give you 2 examples. One is in Florida, right? Florida, as you all know, Black Women Wellness is a reproductive justice organization. We have a human rights framework. We do a whole lot more because we're gonna get to the babies in a minute. I heard your question over there, right? But in Florida, abortion was on the ballot. They needed 60% to remove a ban, a 6-week ban, right? So a 6-week ban means that you can't have an abortion if you're more than 6 weeks pregnant. Most people don't even know they're pregnant at the 6 weeks, right? So they needed 60%. They needed that supermajority to pass. They got 58%. So too short of pass it. But you know what? They still reelected DeSantis. Right? So it's wait a minute. I thought you wanted to be able to get your abortions, but you elected someone that's not going to let that happen.
And I don't feel like, I want people to understand, I don't feel like we're getting like this whole great thing because you have too many House and Senate and, Congress and all these people divided, right? When there's division, there's no unity, there's no coming together, there's no creation of great things. Some things get to be passed, some things get to be moved. And so that's wonderful. It was surprising that, one, yes, into anti-recidivism and reform, but it was surprising for the outcomes of his criminal, his time in court and the outcomes there, that it was even the allowance. It was surprising that Republicans didn't choose and come up with another candidate in the last 4, 8, at Obama, 12, 16 years. That's surprising. And then, to put our sister, Madam President, and I call her sister because I've seen some of the work she's done in California. And so I understood, the road ahead. And she, I'm not going to berate her. I'm not going to think that she did anything wrong. Maybe she should have told them no, because these folks are not ready. They were ready for me to be, attorney general and, to do my work I did in California, district attorney and at the Senate and all those different things. They were not ready for me to be president. And so in 100 days to try to flip it and turn it around when the world was already upset about all the wars that are taking place in the support of, not just the world, but our nation was pretty upset and we were in a lot of crises. And sadly, coming out of a pandemic, this is where we are. And so I don't think I was surprised. I was disappointed. There's no lies about the disappointment. But when someone doesn't have a full, fair shot in this nation, because you're not seen as, and it's always interesting to me, all the things, especially that Black women have been through, the resilience, the fights, the wins and everything, and still not seen as qualified to run. But I think that's what surprises me, that people, men and women, will be like, oh, a woman can't do it. There have been queens that have ran plenty of countries. I mean, the Queen of England, who just passed, did she sit there for over 5 decades? So, but not surprised. I was very happy for folks who did local wins at Assembly and Senate and Congress. But that didn't really shock me. I think more people were concerned if she won on how a racist nation would respond.
So it's kind of like, what do some people have multiple personalities? What were they thinking when they were in the voting booths? That's how like what I'm thinking. And I'm thinking, you know, when I look at the groups who voted for Kamala, Black women, Black men. So we're not going to let them blame Black men for not electing no Kamala.
Not this time.
Right? And then Latino women. That's who voted for Kamala. Now, who voted for that other person? White men, Latino, and white women and Latino men. Okay? So y'all got that order. Y'all seen the graphs, right? So how do you vote for that person, right, when they have said, they have demonstrated how they feel about women? They have absolutely demonstrated. Yeah, right? So they put 3 Supreme Court justices, right? So now it looks like the states are on their own. And the question is, what does that mean for California? Because that's where we live. And once we figure out what that means for California, then we're going to have to figure out how to offer some people some help. What? Right? Because what I know about Texas and Georgia right now is that health providers stood aside and let women die. Y'all know that, right? Y'all heard that story. You're not going to let that happen in California, but that means we're going to have to get busy.
For Black Women for Wellness and our 501c4 Black Women for Wellness Action Project. And I heard in the back that, you know, the state also provides, you know, voter guide that explains some of what the propositions and measures are. I just want to put a late plus, but just a plug for every election or every subsequent election that has propositions and measures on it, that Black Women for Wellness Action Project and Black Women for Wellness publish our own proposition guides and voter guides. And so you make recommendations on the various propositions, and we articulate our rationales for why we vote in support or against a particular proposition. And that rationale is always grounded in the health and well-being of Black women girls. It's grounded in reproductive justice principles. And so just wanted to flag that. So in case you were looking for an alternative or a resource beyond what the state provides, look to Black Women for Wellness and Black Women for Wellness Action Project for resources around voting and the propositions and measures. So Prop 35. Prop 35 seeks to do a number of things, but, and spoiler alert, it passed with a significant margin. It passed decisively. And what it does is it seeks to address an ongoing issue with regard to Medi-Cal. And that's the low reimbursement rates for providers, for Medi-Cal providers. And as we've seen in our communities, because of the low reimbursement rates, providers typically don't like to take and care for Medi-Cal patient because, you know, for lack of better words, it's just not worth it to them, right? It doesn't pay. And we see that as a particular issue when it comes to birthing people, right? Pregnant women, Medi-Cal covers 50, it varies from year to year, but on average, about 50% of the births that take place in California and even across the country are covered by Medicaid and Medi-Cal. And offering obstetric care is actually, because of the healthcare system that we have, is actually really expensive, right? Because we've gone to the extent of medicalizing birth. And so what that results in is really, really high costs for offering care for pregnant people, pregnant women who have Medi-Cal or who are on Medi-Cal, or who, actually for pregnant women in general. But because Medi-Cal reimburses at such a low rate, hospitals can't even break even. Birth centers can't even break even, right? Because of those reimbursement rates. So Prop 35 seeks to address that by making permanent a tax that is imposed on managed care organizations, by making permanent the revenues from those tax, and making permanent those revenues and ensuring that those go to paying providers, so that they're able to get paid an equitable wage, or a wage that, they see fit and will allow them to break even, but also allows them to, care for patients, right? Care for Medi-Cal patients. And so that's the idea. So the MCO tax is what it's called, Prop 35. It makes permanent the managed care organization tax and prescribes how the revenue for that tax will be used, which is to pay for reimbursements and higher reimbursements for certain Medi-Cal providers. And these providers are, they provide care in the Family Pact program. They provide care for various patients and populations and various healthcare services under Medi-Cal.
I want to say that's challenging, but I don't know that it's different because we're in real time. Like, we have the internet, we have rapid access to seeing things, right? But I think back to Harriet Tubman. I think back to Mary McLeod Bethune. I think back to Phyllis Wheatley. I think back to all these powerful, great women. I think back to my own mother, who was a business owner, and my stepmom, who was a business owner, and my great-grands and things of that nature. And on each side, I have great-greats that were indigenous women that were actually real, what folks call Indian and full blood. And so I think back to what all they had to endure. And I'm very hopeful that we can support people in their own personal journey for advocacy, for leadership, to continue on, not particularly in fights, but to continue to stand for justice, to continue to stand for equality, to continue to stand for peace, to continue to stand for joy, to find that love, peace, and joy without losing themselves in the midst of this. Yeah, I think that's my concern, is that young folks and folks my age and beyond don't lose themselves because of the choices and things that are beyond our control. When people make decisions, that's their decision. I can only do what's in my control, and really start to focus on that. I spent a lot of time, wasted time, worrying about what other people would think, what they would say, what they would do, and the choice that they would make. What I will spend time doing is giving truthful, honest information. Sadly, we live in a season where people make the lie the truth and they live it. And we know what that's called, for those of us who, believe one way or have studied. And so it's not uncommon. But I'm very hopeful that we won't quit. We will continue to persevere. We will still be creative. We will write. We will dream big. We will create. We will build. And we will stand strong and continue to move forward.